Good morning, guys. This is Professor Mane. I'm taking your finite element analysis subject. Okay, so we have started our new unit. This is your two-dimensional elements. Okay, and in your previous lecture, we have discussed the various differences between the one-dimensional, two-dimensional, and three-dimensional element. Okay, so and also we have discussed in previous lecture that if there is a two-dimensional geometry, so depending on the conditions or depending on the geometry, there are two conditions for the two-dimensional problem. Okay, so as we know that first one is what your plane stress condition, and second one is what your plane strain condition. Okay, so for plane stress condition, we have discussed the things that for plane stress condition, the stresses acting in the z direction are assumed to be zero. Why? Because the thickness or the length in the x direction, it is very less as compared to other two dimensions. Okay, other x or y directions. So the stresses acting on the xy plane are considered to be zero, as we have discussed. And for plane strain condition, we have discussed the stresses in the z directions are considered to be zero. Why? Because the z dimension is very large as compared to your x and y direction. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the plane stress and plane strain condition. So plane stress means what? In plane stress condition, the thickness or the length of the z direction, it is very less as compared to other x and y direction. But in plane strain condition, the thickness or length in the z direction, it is very high or large as compared to x and y direction. So that's why due to these conditions, the stresses in the z direction or stresses acting on the plane x, stresses acting on xy plane are considered to be zero. So this is what we have discussed in your previous lecture. So this is about your plane stress condition and plane strain condition. Also we have studied or discussed the stress strain relationships in plane stress condition as well as in plane strain condition. Okay, so this is your relationship. First one is for your stress strain condition, which is for plane stress condition, and second one it is for plane strain condition. Okay, now we will see the axisymmetric problems. First there are actually three conditions. First one is your plane stress condition, second one is your plane strain condition, and third one is your axisymmetric condition. So axisymmetric is what? When each element is symmetric with respect to the geometry and loading about an axis such as z axis. Means if every element it is symmetric about an axis. Okay, if all elements are symmetric with respect to geometry and loading about an axis, let us say z axis, and this z axis is called as the axis of symmetry or axis of the revolution, then such type of geometry or element is called as the axisymmetric element. So in axisymmetric elements, these are the triangular tori such that each element is symmetric with respect to geometry, and this symmetry is about an z axis. So this z axis is called as the axis of symmetry. Okay, now we will see the next topic. Our next topic is what? The convergence requirement or convergence criteria. So what do we mean by this convergence criteria, or what do we mean by convergence? Actually, convergence means what? Actually, we will get the results by this finite elemental procedure or finite elemental analysis by using various softwares like your Hypermesh, ANSYS, ADAMS or Alexandra. We will get these results by using these softwares, but the results obtained by these softwares are exact. These results are not exact. These are approximate results. Okay, so the convergence process is like that, in which the results obtained by this FEA of a physical problem, which will converges toward us the exact solution by using different approaches. Okay, so convergence, it is a process in which the results obtained by FEA of a physical problem reaches to the exact solution. Okay, and there is a difference between desired results and obtained results in the FEA, because by using FEA or by using different elements, different types of elements in FEA, we will get the results which are not exact to the analytical solutions. Okay, but these results are approximate results, so we need to converge these results towards exact results. So there for this convergence we need some requirements. So by using which type of requirements we will converge these results, these exact results to the approximate results to the exact results. As in your numerical methods and optimization subjects, you have seen that by using iteration methods you will get approximate results, but if the number of iterations you increase, then you will get the solution which is converged towards the exact solution. In all numericals, in your numerical methods and optimization subjects, when you solve any numerical by using iteration method, you will get the solution, but this solution is not exact one, this is approximate one. So for getting exact solution, what will you do? So what will you do in this case? You will increase the number of iterations. Okay, means n, number of n, or you will decrease the step size, which is nothing but h is your step size in your these problems. So by decreasing step size, you can converge your exact approximate solution towards exact solution in your numerical methods and optimization. So similarly, we can apply some methods to converge the approximate solutions to exact solution. Okay, so this is nothing but the convergence requirement. Okay, and actually if we keep reducing this difference between the approximate and exact solution, then the results of the analysis are going to be converge. Okay, so if our requirement is what? We need to get the exact results by using the FEA softwares, but by using FEA softwares we will get approximate results. So there must be we need to do some changes in the analysis or in the element type, so that we will get the exact solution, or we will converge our approximate solutions towards exact solution. Okay, so what are these criteria or what are these conditions, which is nothing but your convergence requirement or convergence criteria. Okay, so such actually these characteristics or these requirements, actually these are called as the convergence criteria or convergence requirement. Okay, so the condition of convergence is as follows. So the condition of convergence is as selected displacement model should be continuous. Okay, now initially we will select our displacement model or displacement function. Okay, and this displacement function should be continuous in nature. This is first requirement. Then second requirement is what? Displacement model which is selected, it should satisfy the rigid body displacement. Okay, this displacement model we have selected for our problem, and this displacement model or displacement function or polynomial function, it should be continuous. First one, then it should satisfy the rigid body displacements. Then third one is what? It should satisfy the constant strain rate also. And last one is what? It should be independent of natural coordinate system. Okay, so we will see one by one what is the meaning of this rigid body displacement, what is the meaning of this constant strain rate, what is the meaning of this independent of natural coordinate system. Okay, so the displacement model or displacement function, first criteria is what? It should be continuous. Second one is what? Your selected polynomial function or displacement function, it should satisfy the rigid body displacement. What do you mean by rigid body displacement? We will see in later. Then it should satisfy the constant strain rate also, and it should be independent of the natural coordinate system. Okay, so we will see these three requirements in later. So now first we will see the methods of convergence first. While using your softwares, we will see now there are basically there are two different methods of the convergence. First one is what? H refinement. Second one is what? Your P refinement. Okay, and third one is HP refinement, and last one is R refinement. Okay, so for your syllabus there are two basically convergence methods are there. So first one is what, your H refinement, and second one is what, your P refinement. Okay, so let us see the diagram of this H refinement. Okay, so here this is original mesh. First one is this is your original mesh. So actually this original mesh, there are only 1 2 3 4 4 elements are there only. If we consider the triangular element for this system, then there are 1 2 3 and 4 triangular elements are there only. Okay, if we consider this original mesh. But in H refinement, if you see, the number of elements are increased here. Okay, so number of elements are increased by increasing the number of nodes as well as number of elements. Okay, so in H refinements, here what we did, we increase the number of elements. Okay, so H refinement, it is nothing but what? So in H refinement, we will increase the number of elements. To get the exact solution, we will increase the number of elements here. Okay, and the name, actually this H method, this name is given by based on the step size. Actually, as in your numerical methods and optimization method, the step size H is nothing but your step size. So by increasing or by minimizing this step size, if suppose for example, if you are solving your example, for example your matrix solution, if you are solving your simultaneous equations by using Gauss elimination method. So for this example, if you take step size equal to 1, then you will get one solution. But if you reduce your step size, means what? If you reduce your step size to 0.01, then you will get the solution which is more accurate as compared to your first case. Okay, so in this case, if you reduce the step size, you need to do more iterations. If you do more iterations, you will get more accurate results. So in this case also, if this H is nothing but it is related to number of elements. Here, if we increase the number of elements, then we will get our exact solution. Okay, so the variable H, actually it is used to specify the step size in your numeric integration. And if a part is modeled with very coarse mesh means what? Your first original mesh. Okay, as you have seen that there are only 4 elements. Okay, if the part is modeled with coarse mesh, then the stress distribution across the part will be very inaccurate. Okay, so for this first condition, here the stress distribution across this mesh, it is not accurate. Okay, it is not accurate. Okay, so in order to increase the accuracy of the solution, more element must be added. So we need to convert this coarse mesh into finer mesh. Okay, so to convert this coarse mesh to fine mesh, we need to add, or we need to increase the number of elements in coarse mesh. Okay, so in order to increase the accuracy of solution, more elements must be added, and this means that creating a finer mesh. Okay, so if we run our analysis by using this coarse mesh, we will get one solution. Okay, so now if we increase the number of elements and if we run our analysis, then we will get another solution. So the solution which is obtained by increasing the number of elements, which is more accurate as compared to the solution obtained by the coarse mesh. Okay, so by increasing the number of elements, you will get the exact solution as compared to your coarse mesh, because if we solve your problem by using your NEFA software, by using your coarse mesh, then you will get one solution here. Okay, then if we increase the number of elements, For let us say, for example, in your course mesh there are only 4 elements. Now if we consider by increasing the number of elements, let us say suppose there are 20 elements, we have increased our number of elements for 4 elements to 20 elements. So by increasing the number of elements, and if we run this problem or run this analysis by using any software, then you will come to know that the accuracy or the solution accuracy is increased, or the results obtained by this finer mesh, these are more accurate as compared to your coarse mesh. Okay, so this is about your H method. So H method is nothing but increasing the number of elements, you will get more converged solution towards your exact solution. Okay, so this is about your H method. Then next, second method is what your P method. So P, it is denoted for your polynomial function. So if we increase the order of polynomial function, then the solution accuracy is also increased. So P stands for polynomial. Okay, so large elements and the complex shape functions, these are used in your P method problems actually. Okay, so in order to increase the accuracy of solution, the complexity of the shape function must be increased. So complexity of the shape function must be increased means what? We need to increase the order of shape function. As we have seen that if we use the constant shape function, or only if we are using only constants in your shape function, then the solution obtained by this method, it is not accurate. But if we increase the order of the polynomial shape function, then in that case, order of the polynomial shape function means what? Constant, it is increased to first order. First order polynomial means what? Your linear polynomial function. If we increase the order to second order, it means what? This is your hyperbolic shape function. If we increase this order to third degree, it means we are using cubic shape function. So by increasing the order of the polynomial shape function, you will get more accurate solution as compared to your previous one. Okay, so increasing the polynomial order increases the complexity of the shape function, and the mesh does not need to be changed when using the P method. Here we need not to be there is no necessity to change the mesh, because we are increasing the order of polynomial shape function. So for complex problems we need to use complex shape function. Complex shape function means we need to increase the order of that shape function. Okay, so by increasing the order of the shape function, we will get accurate solution. Okay, or we will get the converged solution towards the exact solution. Okay, so if we can for initial run, solution might be solved using the first order polynomial shape function. Okay, by using the first order polynomial shape function, we will get one solution. Okay, now to check the solution of the problem, now we will solve the same problem by using higher order shape function, higher order polynomial shape function. Okay, now for the second run, the solution may be solved using the third order polynomial shape function. A second solution will be obtained. Okay, now the output from these two runs, first run is what we will get first run from first order polynomial shape function. Then second run we will get from third order polynomial shape function. Now, so the output from the two runs is compared. If the large difference between the two solutions, then the solution should be run using third order polynomial shape function. So if we get, as we know that exact solution is different, and there are two solutions by using first order solution, by using third order polynomial shape function. So if the the solution obtained by third order polynomial shape function is converges towards the exact solution, then we will select our third order polynomial shape function for this case. Okay, and this process actually repeated until the solution is not changing much from run to run. Means until we will not get our exact solution, we will repeat this process by increasing the order of polynomial shape function. Okay, so this is nothing but your P method. Okay, so in H method we are increasing the number of elements, or we are increasing the mesh refinement, and in your P method we are increasing the order of polynomial shape function. So H, it will stands for the step size, which we have actually studied in your numerical integration problems. And here P it stands for polynomial order, means we need to increase the order of the polynomial shape functions. Okay, so then you will then only you will get your exact solution, or your approximate solution is converged towards your exact solution. Okay, so this is about your H method and P method. So these are the methods of convergence. Actually these examples or this theory part will be asked in your exam for 3 to 4 marks. So try to actually remember these things. H means what? H stands for your step size. P means what? P stands for your polynomial order. It is very simple actually. For H means increasing the number of elements, you will get the exact solution. P means increasing the order of the polynomial shape functions, you will get the exact solution. Okay, so this is about the methods of convergence. So we have discussed till now the methods of convergence. First we have discussed what should be the displacement function we need to use during our problem. Then this displacement function, it should satisfy the rigid body conditions, then it should satisfy the constant strain rate, as well as it should be independent from the natural coordinate system. Okay, so these are the convergence requirement of the FEA problem. Okay, so in next lecture we will see the Pascal's triangle. What is the use of Pascal's triangle, or how to remember the polynomial shape functions by using this Pascal's triangle. Okay, so here I am concluding this lecture here only. We will see the next part in next lecture. Thank you.